It's going to open up in just about 15 seconds. There does tend to be like a 20, 30-second delay. So you may want to pause for answer a little bit more at the beginning if you're going to ask people for answer.
Okay. All right. I guess I'm gonna start. It's 3:46. Hi, everyone. If you can hear me, I would love like a sign either in the chat or if your video is on, just give me a sign just so that I can see that you are here and you can see me. And we can get started. Awesome. All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Edna Tekla Akimana. I am a student at UMass Boston. I am double majoring in exercise and health science, as well as pre-medical. I'm doing pre-medical studies. I am also a feminist. I'm an ambassador at the Telling Room. I am an activist. I'm a blogger. I'm an author. I do a bunch of things. And currently I am working on multiple projects, including youth empowerment and youth integration. And those have been my most assignments while being an ambassador at the Telling Room. And I had the privilege to be actually accepted to present today. And today I'm going to be talking about empowerment, built to empower youth. I know that the title in the chat or the presentation title that they gave was youth integration, but I switched that a little bit. But it's kind of similar. And to me, why did I choose youth empowerment? Because I do think that is something that we really need today. It's something that everyone should be trying to do, as it's empowerment is an act of giving a chance to someone to take authority. And we really have so many youth who are trying to get involved and trying to learn and rebuild from all the mistakes that might have been happening in the past in our history. And actually, I have a question for everyone here before I start with the entire presentation. I just wanted to ask everyone what they think about empowerment and who should we empower today, so that I know if we are all on the same page. The floor is yours. I'm not sure if anyone wants to say anything in the chat or unmute yourself. All right, I guess everyone is really silent. All right, I got one answer. Is it Mickey? Please correct me if I say your name wrong. Youth, undeserved populations, student and people who have not had a voice. That's really good. New beginnings, empowering youth. Awesome. These are great answers. Yeah, definitely. I am with all of you on that page of empowering youth and having new beginnings, breaking stereotypes, giving student and people who don't have a voice a stage. And to me, that's exactly what I'm working toward, to empower my brothers and sisters who are actually trying to get their voices heard, because we are the generation that is about building blocks in our society, shaping our future, and getting to the change that we are looking for. It's really hard, but I think also that adults play a role in this part, because we can't do it by ourselves. We have to have elders to help us and see where we're going, because elders have been there before us. Although we're still young and able to multitask, we can still actually gain wisdom and learn from our elders. So youth are really a great target for the empowerment and the change that we need. There is a weird echo. Interesting. Is everyone having that weird echo in the background? All right, let me. Can you hear me okay now? Or should I refresh? Okay. All right. All right. It's all good now. The reason why I said that youth are actually in need of being heard, I was part of that category that was unheard before, and probably I am still, but it's not like he used to. When I moved here as an asylum seeker, I was 19, and I remember the struggle that I had to express myself. Yes, I had language barrier at that time, but I also didn't have space. I didn't have space to express what I was going through as an asylum seeker, the discrimination I was facing in schools and in the community. However, I tried to find a place when I started to attend the Young Writer and Leader sessions at the Telling Room. When I was a student there, I found that I was not alone facing that. There were so many students who were facing the same thing that I was facing. But in that same environment, I tried to shape a new road for the students who were unable to be a part of the Young Writer and Leader at that time. So I was a student at the Telling Room, learning leadership, how to become an author, writer, but I also was doing other activities at school behind, so that I can empower other asylum seeker students that were attending at that time, was during high school, and creating space for us to share what were our struggles, what we were facing, and what we needed to see. So when I was doing all of that work behind the scenes of being part of the Young Writer and Leader, I came up with the book that was called The New Mainers. That book was a guidebook that would, no, I wouldn't say train, but guide people to see where they could get resources. Because when I started, I was part of the general assistant. I don't know if everyone is familiar with that. We were being helped in such a way that was beautiful, but we were not sure who to ask. We had resources that were waiting for us, but we weren't told where to go and who to call, or to ask appointments. So when I was trying to figure that out by myself, at 19, I thought about the other person who can't even express themselves, who can't even speak English, and they just got here, the elders in the community that couldn't go back to school. My goal was to create that book and be able to spread to everyone all the location in Portland where they could get help. After doing that, I did that after also, I think I did the publishing with the Telling Room first, and then I did the guidebook. And after that, I was awarded with the Hardliger Healthy Woman, I believe, for that book. But then I continued to do the activism and get involved in the community. And to where I am today, I get involved in so many activities. I work with International Congress of Youth Voices. We usually meet every year. Last year, we didn't meet because of the pandemic, but before last year we met in Puerto Rico, and in 2018 we were in San Francisco. And that was really a great connection and a great way to see how other young leaders are working in their community and they're impacting their community. So from that moment of me realizing all those aspects and learning how to live in Portland, Maine as an asylum seeker, and training my other fellows asylees on how to survive, I then started to learn and go in books and learn history of slavery, because honestly, they don't teach that in Africa. They don't teach us about racism. It's something that we face when we get here. We don't hear discrimination where we're from. Besides that, there are other issues surrounding our countries, our continent. We were not thought about racism or discrimination at all. It's something that when we get here, we're facing, and we don't know how to live in it and how to get help if we need to. So I think the journey to empowerment is really abroad, and it's open to everyone, but I also feel like it needs support from elders, and the youth today are struggling to get that help because there's so many division, there's so many stereotypes that are happening, and it's hard for the younger generation to feel safe and go and ask help because they're not sure how they're going to be seen, how they're going to be viewed. It's really hard. And actually, my question right now, I'm going to ask to everyone here, if you might have had any experience with youth who were coming toward you to ask for help. Were you responsive, or are you willing to help? And if you are, how can you help? Because that's where we are stuck today as youth. We do not know how elders are gonna react when we ask help, when we have those hard questions. How would you respond to that? I'm not sure if anyone wants to respond to that, or if any answers. by listening and allowing them to tell their stories, experiences. Yes, that's a really good point. Any other answer to this? Or do you know what the youth need from you? Or do you know how to empower them? Those are kind of like the questions are. Yes, yeah. Yes, involving youth in decision making is really a good point. Because sometimes we're left out. So we are youth, but sometimes we're not belittled, but I feel like our ideas are really belittled because they think we're younger, that we shouldn't really make those hard decisions. And it's hard to confront people who are in higher places when issues like racism are surrounding us. But that's something that actually I was able to see, that within the telling room, we had space where we could actually express our feelings and write our stories. But at the same time, we had debate. We could share how we're feeling and had time and space to express how we think there could be some changes in the community. And I really think that listening to our stories is great, but there are actions that needs to happen. It's really great to listen to the youth. It's really great to support them, but they also want you to go with them. They want you to that front line to walk with them and stand in that hardship with them. Because if we just are here to tell our stories and we listen and then at the end of the day, we don't see the people who are listening to us in like on the front line when we're marching or when we're fighting for justice, then that's where the support is kind of not being truly viewed. Because yes, you listen to me, but you are not there physically to support me or to hold my hand or to share like everything that we're happening. The reason why I say that is last year is where actually I realized how youth empowerment is really something that is needed, because there is so many things that were happening at the same time. We had the pandemic, we had injustices, we still are having those issues today. But with last year experiences that we've seen all over the news, youth were scared and are still scared. They don't know how to confront issues. They don't know who to talk to. They don't trust people anymore. They don't trust, I'm sorry to say, they don't trust white people anymore because of the white privilege. And it's an unbalanced life that they are living. And I feel like as a community where we are accepting our differences and being able to listen to one another will bring that that body and that space for empowerment to work. If we listen and acknowledge that, yes, on some part we're both wrong, but there is also a solution to it. It's good to listen, but it's also good to bring solution to the issues surrounding us. Part of the empowerment job that I do, I also do public speaking movement. Last year, actually, we had some marching that happened all over the country. I only shared one of them. This was in Portland, I believe. That was in Portland, I believe, toward the end of the summer. We're marching for Breonna Taylor and George Floyd. And to see that there were people who were not even unsure of how to help, but they were standing in that, like on that front line, marching and singing and using their voices is actually something that was so powerful. And it doesn't dismiss that the issues are still there. but it shows that actually there's some people who care. There's some people who are willing to help and willing to go miles and miles with us to actually reach the goal that we are all looking for. And empowerment is really something that requires strength, and it requires some learning and unlearning through each process. And the movement keeps going, and during that movement, that's where we need people to stick with us, to stick with the youth, to be able to trust and feel safe around our elders, or around the people who are in the community and the people that are saying that they need to support us. The other thing is, what do youth gain when they're empowered? Here I have pictures of people who have impacted my life. I'm still in contact with few of them. Actually, all of them except one. I was in this conference, the International Congress of Youth Voices, and I had to sit down and ask questions to these public influencers that you guys are seeing. I've met John Lewis, Dave Eggers, Tabitha Jacobs, and Chimamanda, and many more. These are just a few that I could list. And I've gained knowledge, leadership, confidence, and brilliant opportunities and connection through all the process and sessions and meetings that I've done with this organization. And through the telling room is where everything started. If the telling room at that time was unable to help us to see the potential that we had at that time in 2015, I wouldn't be here in 2019 or 18 or 2021 today. And I really think that every single opportunity that you have to see a youth around you, a young person around you trying to better themselves, trying to learn, trying to contribute to the community, listen to them, ask them what their dreams are, their hopes are, their weaknesses or their fears, because we are scared at the same time. Even though we want some changes, we are scared to try or to jump and take the risks to do something that is beyond us. But I think that through that whole process of being trained and being taught that taking risks is actually at some point good, I was able to be at this place to meet all these great personalities that you see here and be able to learn from them. And after that, I came back to the community. I had to go back to during high school to share with other asylum seekers, and I'm still doing that with my community through my social media, through my blogs, my writings, to bring awareness of what is happening today in our country and in our entire world, actually. But it was through what I gained at that time that I'm able to do that. And when you are empowering us, when you are empowering the youth, you are building a legacy, you are building a new history, expansion into the young ages, because it's not gonna stop with us. We have young brothers and sisters that are growing up right now. They're gonna see the efforts and the energy that we had, and they're gonna keep building. And there is also a new character that is born through the empowerment, through the process of being empowered, and the ability to act and think quickly. Because the way I used to think about discrimination and racism is not the way I see it today. Everything keeps changing at the same time. So learning again and unlearning is what we have to keep doing. So we gain that ability to act because we already have something to build up on. And we also are not scared to contribute and give our ideas and our thoughts on anything that we see that is important and that where we need to express our feelings, because we already have those spaces are open for us. We have those tables where we can go and sit and feel like we're heard. And at the same time, it's not only centered to listening and learning only, it's also centered to volunteering. Through my activism and work that I've done in the community, I've been able to volunteer in so many places. I've been able to feed the homeless. I've been able to help with the population in Puerto Rico, culture integration. I've been able to work in communities in Portland with the Rwandese, the Burundian, and the Congolese communities to help shape the culture integration, because we have different cultures, and coming here to learn a new culture is actually hard. So being able to sit and listen to what the youth are struggling with and be able to help them untangle all those strings to see if there is actually safe space for them to feel like they're welcome. On top of that, from this workshop, I really would love for everyone to ask themselves these questions. I don't know if everyone can read it, but the questions that I always ask people to ask themselves are the question that actually I've been trained to ask myself as well through the work that I do. What do I want, or what do I want people to remember me as? Because if I'm doing a work or a workshop, or if I'm impacting someone, but then that person goes home with no knowledge of anything, then I didn't do anything. What am I doing to help the youth in the community? Am I being involved physically, or am I reaching out to help with flyers? What am I doing to help in the community? It could be anything. When I'm doing at the work, can I just be involved on social media? Can I just be involved in spreading the word in some way, one way or another? Am I paving the right path for the next generation from all backgrounds? Or am I just being centered to my own race, my own community? Because at this stage where we are today, people are so selfish and they want to just help the people in their community. But there are other people in other communities that needs your help. Am I able to open up and give them space as well, and teach them or learn from them? How can I change or make this world a better place? This is a hard one, because every day we see new things happening in the entire world, but we have to try. We have to try to put in our 2 cents in everything that we do and see if we can get a better place. And the great question and last question that I would ask everyone to always ask yourself: if I die tomorrow, how many lives will I have impacted or empowered? Because then, if every day we could always ask us our questions, that question, then it will motivate us to actually reach out to those youth, reach out to those organizations, or those schools that are calling for people to go and speak their mind and empower the youth and train them. At least one life, we could save one life a day or a season. Doesn't matter when, but one life could be impacted if we try to do better and try to go out and actually do the work, act. And these are my only thoughts right now, but I would love to hear from you all if you have questions. But before I also conclude, there are some quotes that have been encouraging me these past years. When I was speaking to John Lewis, he actually gave me these quotes to keep with me and walk around with. He told me that you will see people hating on you. Maybe you might be beaten up or placed in jail, as it happened to me multiple times, but you need to fight for what is true. Get in trouble, good trouble, necessary troubles. Be the ambassador of the youth around you. Don't hate due to their background or race. Instead, help them to grow by lighting their ways. fight the good fight and keep hoping. And those are the quotes that I really want to give everyone that attended this session today. This is a hard work. It's a day by day thing. It keeps changing, and everyone is not sure of how to act when things are shifting on us 24/7. But I feel like the more we try, the better this world will become. And this is the time for questions or for suggestions to everyone who's here. I hope you were able to hear me all, because I know there are some difficulties earlier. But yeah. Any questions? Oh, thank you, Yvonne. Do I have any suggestion for best practices regarding evaluating effectiveness? Okay. Honestly, it comes back to the listening and taking actions. As long as you give space to the youth and show them that you are listening and not judging their opinion, because sometimes youth are being judged from what their beliefs are. And if they're able to express their feelings and talk in their own language, as long as you hear what they're talking about or get an idea of what they're talking about, then you'll be able to have that partnership with them, be able to work with them in any kind of area of life, whether if it's in school or community. Yeah, I hope that answers your question. Yay, thank you, Ryan. All right, people are so shy. I have so many attendees here, but yeah, I guess are shy. Yeah. Thank you, Celine. Yes, Janice, you're right. Thank you. Are there any other questions for the rest of the attendees? Oh, this is a good question. For organizations that may not have a youth board or ambassador program in place, what are your suggestions on how to create a space like that for youth input and leadership? Um, I would say create tables. Don't create just a table. Many organizations are trying to create now tables for anti-racism, um, break discrimination, but there are other aspects that are surrounding the youth, other issues that are surrounding the youth that you could start with. You don't have to start exactly with racism and discrimination. You can start with education, the struggles that students are having today to apply for college, for instance, like tuition issues. And then from there, you can have more topics, and then maybe at that point when you have all these topics established, you can have an entire program at that time, because you will be touching not only one subject, but you will be touching so many subjects, because as ambassadors we are walking and learning not only on one topic, we're learning from other topics as well. Because if today they call me at a school to share my experience as a college student, then I'm going there to speak about my struggles as a college student. But then tomorrow I could be going there as an activist to talk about the issues surrounding Black people, Black population, Asian people. And then because I'm trained in that aspect of touching on every topic, I think that's where the program could be created as. If we start building one brick at a time, then you would have like so many windows to create that full house, that full program. I hope that answers your question, Rylan. Yeah, definitely there is. Any other questions? Yeah, it's actually sunny outside. Probably everybody's ready to go enjoy the sunshine. Oh, thank you, Katharina. Sarah had a question. What are some ways you've seen to build trust with youth? Yes, I've mentioned that youth are scared. They're scared in which way? We are taught to speak our mind, but also when we are talking, at some point we're rejected. So I've experienced that. I've experienced that in so many ways where I've went on and expressed issues that were surrounding asylees during high school, and my ideas were rejected. how were they rejected? They will tell me, oh yeah, we know that that's an issue, but we will figure out, we will think about it. And then by that time, 2 months, 3 months, when you go back to check in, nothing has happened. So technically, you've heard my ideas, you've heard my issues, but then you chose to dismiss that. Because if you're not even putting the effort to go back and study what I came to share with you, then you're not supporting. You're just listening to be um, dismissing me at the end. And we've seen so many people that are passive aggressive that would really smile at you, will tell you that we're here to help you. How can I help you? Let me know if you need any help. That's a common sentence that we really are hearing as activists. And at that time when you go, or today when you go to knock on those doors, they don't respond, or they don't want to give you their feedback. They will tell you that they will come back to you, but they won't tell you anything until you force yourself and do message them or knock on their doors multiple times. Which it should be something that is flexible, to hear that, to feel that if a youth is coming, the youth is coming toward me and they're having issues, and you've seen that or you've heard that issue over and over, then there's some actions that needs to happen. So that's what we're missing. And the more we're being dismissed, the more we're scared, because why should I try again? Because the other time I got rejected, my ideas got rejected, my issues was not even fixed. They heard me, but they didn't want to do anything. So that creates some fear, or I would say some bridge between the youth and whoever they're trying to ask help from, because they know that at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how many times I will go and repeat myself, that person won't help me. And that's what really needs to end. We need to break that bridge, so that everyone can feel safe and able to knock on those doors and ask for help. Hope that answers your question, Sarah. Thank you, Yvonne. Thank you. Still have more, I think half an hour. If anyone has a questions or personal question, I can also take personal question. If there are any, hopefully I can answer them. Not sure if we have any college student or young activist or activist here who would like to share their experiences too. That could be an amazing thing to do right now. If you want to share anything. All right, I guess everyone is okay. Should we wrap it up from here, or do we have more suggestions or questions? Just gonna do one last call. All right. I hope everyone are having a great afternoon. Thank you for coming to my session and engaging. I hope it helped you all. And until next time, I guess, enjoy the sunshine. Bye.